What happens when one of Hollywood's most respected actors walks into what he believes will be a friendly interview, only to find himself suddenly under attack by a host who seems determined to tear him apart on live television? The intense confrontation between Michael B. Jordan and Joy Behar on The View left viewers shocked and had social media buzzing for days. Before we get into this unbelievable story, make sure to hit that subscribe button and leave a comment with your thoughts, because what happened next is almost impossible to believe. The studio lights were bright as Michael B. Jordan took his seat in the familiar semicircle of chairs on the View set. The actor, who was there to promote his latest project as a director, looked calm and confident, ready for what he assumed would be a standard promotional interview. The other hosts, Whoopi Goldberg, Sarah Haynes, Alyssa Farah Griffin, and Sunny Hostin, greeted him with warm smiles and friendly energy. But Joy Behar looked different. Her posture was stiff, her expression sharp, already carrying a tension that would soon become impossible to ignore. "Welcome back to The View," Whoopi announced to the cameras. "We're here with the incredibly talented Michael B. Jordan, actor, director, and producer." "Michael, thank you for joining us today." "Thanks for having me." "It's always great to be here," Michael replied, flashing the familiar smile that had made him a fan favorite around the world. The conversation began harmlessly enough. Sarah Haynes asked him about his new film, and Michael spoke with real excitement about stepping behind the camera. "You know, directing has given me a completely new perspective on storytelling," he said. "I really wanted to tell stories that matter, stories that highlight voices that don't always get heard in Hollywood." Sunny Hostin nodded in agreement. "That's something we really admire about your work, Michael. You've consistently chosen projects that have social meaning." But then Joy Behar leaned forward, and the atmosphere in the studio instantly changed. "Speaking of social meaning," she said, her tone sharp enough to make everyone tense, "I want to ask you about some of the choices you've made lately. There's been a lot of criticism about actors like you who seem to decide when it's convenient to be socially aware." Michael's smile faded just a little, but he stayed composed. "I'm not sure I understand what you mean, Joy." "Well," Joy continued, her voice growing firmer, "you talk a lot about representation and giving a voice to the voiceless. But then you work with directors and producers who don't exactly have the best history when it comes to diversity." The other hosts exchanged uneasy looks. Whoopi shifted in her chair, and Sarah's concern was clear on her face. "I think that's a pretty unfair way to describe it," Michael replied calmly, though there was now a harder edge in his voice. "I'm very intentional about the projects I choose and the people I work with. I can't control every single thing in this industry, but I can control my own actions and the stories I help bring to life." Joy wasn't satisfied. "But don't you think that actors in your position have a responsibility to do more than just manage their own choices? Shouldn't you be using your platform more aggressively to call out Hollywood's problems instead of talking about representation only when it's good for your image?" The accusation hung heavy in the air. Michael's jaw tightened. For the first time, his polished media training showed cracks. "Convenient for my image," he repeated slowly. "Joy, I don't think you understand the work I do behind the scenes or the conversations I have privately to push for real change." "Oh, that's exactly the issue," Joy shot back. "It's always behind the scenes, always private. Meanwhile, other actors are out there taking real risks, putting their careers on the line, while you're comfortable with blockbuster contracts." Whoopi tried to step in. "Joy, maybe we should." "No, Whoopi," Joy interrupted. "This matters. The public deserves to know where their favorite stars truly stand, not just the polished version they're sold." Michael leaned back slightly, clearly trying to process what was happening. The other hosts looked embarrassed, but Joy seemed energized by the tension she had created. "Joy, I think you're completely misunderstanding who I am and what I stand for," Michael said, his voice now unmistakably firm. "Are you sure?" Joy challenged. "Because from where I'm sitting, it looks like another Hollywood actor who talks about social justice when the cameras are on, but plays it safe when it really counts." The studio audience began to murmur. Some were clearly uncomfortable, others glued to the drama unfolding in front of them. Michael took a deep breath. Anyone who knew him could see he was close to his limit. "You know what, Joy," he said. "I came here today to talk about my work, the stories I'm trying to tell, and the impact I hope to make. Instead, you've decided to ambush me with assumptions about my character and my commitment." "Ambush?" Joy laughed. "I'm asking the questions your fans want answered. I'm holding you accountable." "No," Michael said firmly, his voice rising for the first time. "You're grandstanding. You're creating conflict because it makes good TV. And honestly, it's beneath what this show is supposed to represent." The tension was now thick enough to feel. Cameras zoomed in, sensing a major moment. The other hosts sat frozen, unsure how to stop what was happening. Joy's eyes lit up, clearly pleased that she had gotten under his skin. "So now I'm grandstanding? That's rich coming from someone whose career is built on safe choices and carefully managed appearances." "Safe choices?" Michael's voice dropped to a quiet, dangerous tone. "Joy, you haven't done your homework. You want to talk about risk? Let's talk about the millions I've invested in Black-owned businesses. Let's talk about the production company I started to create opportunities for underrepresented filmmakers. Let's talk about the mentorship programs I fund that you clearly didn't bother to research." Joy waved her hand dismissively. "Anyone with money can write checks. I'm talking about using your voice when it actually costs you something." "Do you have any idea what it's like," Michael snapped, "to navigate this industry as a Black man trying to create change without destroying the very bridges that help others move forward? Do you understand the balance it takes to push boundaries and still get projects made?" "That sounds like an excuse," Joy replied. "Other actors speak out without worrying about bridges." Sunny Hostin finally spoke up. "Joy, I think Michael is making a fair point about how complex real change can be." "Oh please, Sunny," Joy said sharply. "You're really going to defend celebrity activism that's just performance?" Michael gripped the arms of his chair. "Performance? You want to call my work performance? The families helped by the housing programs I funded might disagree. The young filmmakers who got their first opportunity through my company might disagree. And yet," Joy pressed on, though her confidence was slipping, "when the biggest scandals hit Hollywood, where is your voice? Where are the public statements? The names being called out? You want names?" Michael said. "Fine. Let's talk about the executive who said I was too urban to be a lead. Let's talk about the producer who only saw me as a criminal, not a hero. Let's talk about the casting director who said audiences wouldn't accept me as a romantic lead." The studio fell silent. Even Joy seemed caught off guard. "The difference between you and me," Michael continued, "is that I know change takes strategy, not just noise. I work inside the system to change it, not just shout from the outside." "That's exactly the excuse people in power always use," Joy scoffed. "Complicit?" Michael repeated slowly after she used the word. "You're calling me complicit in a system that has tried to limit me my entire life." "If the shoe fits," Joy replied. That was the moment everything exploded. "I've walked in shoes you can't imagine," Michael said, his voice rising with emotion. "I've been the only Black man in rooms where my worth was questioned. I've had my humanity debated. And now you sit there and question my commitment?" The studio was completely silent. "Complicity," Michael continued, "is tearing down people who are doing the work. Complicity is demanding activism that makes you comfortable." Whoopi desperately tried to signal the producers, but it was too late. "You tried to destroy my character for ratings," Michael said. "And that says more about you than it ever will about me." As the show went to commercial, a viral moment was born. So what do you think? Was Michael right to stand up for himself, or should he have stayed quiet? Leave a comment below and don't forget to subscribe for more powerful stories like this.